You know how we do every week at this time. Plicker's Spotlight Story. We set things off with a big story, possibly a little story, but you know your man DJ Playboy's about to bring it to you. And this week was a big one, man. Your boy Michael Rubin, you know, fresh off the Fanatics Fest, he was out there promoting the damn thing before it kicked off, and he stopped by the Breakfast Club, and he had some things to say. He talked about Drake attending his white party and the rumor of Not Like Us being banned from the party. He confirmed that. He said, nah, you know, Drake's my guy. I'm not going to let them play a song dissing him.
Business relationships come out of it. It's good vibes. But like when you see stuff online, like Drake was there this year and everybody was like, oh, they weren't allowed to play Not Like Us. Like, does that stuff bother you? And was that even true?
It was true. And look, for me, I'm always, you know, I just don't think, you know, Drake's my friend for a long time. I'm not going to invite him and then have, you know, he's obviously going through, he's going through a little bit of battle right now. I'm not going to have him come there and
be in battle mode.
I just didn't think it was appropriate. So I just sent a note. I said, hey, let's not play, you know, anyone's music that's feuding with anyone that's there. I mean, look, you got.
But that was a you decision. It wasn't like Drake was like, don't play this.
That was a me decision. I just thought it was the pro.
And he also spoke about a lot of his other friendships, people that he had in the league, people that he had in the music industry. One of them being Meek Mill. And we all know in the past year, you know, Meek Mill was definitely the butt of a lot of jokes. Mainly after, you know, Diddy got himself into some legal trouble. Meek Mill's name popping up in the legal papers, and then, you know, Black Twitter, we gonna go crazy. We gonna have some fun with it. And that's what kind of happened to your man Meek Mill. He was a victim of what somebody call cyberbullying, you know what I mean? But we in the Black community, we had some jokes. He had to catch these jokes. But Michael Rubin decided that he felt some type of way about it, and he said this.
Like, that is the one thing I've learned about, you know, and look, I'm just being blunt because it's me. It's the one thing I've learned about Black culture that I don't like is that Black hate on hate.
Speak on that more. I heard you say that earlier, and I wanted you to expound on that. You said you don't like to see Black people tearing down other Black people.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, like it's horrible. Like, what? Like, I always want to be helpful. I feel lucky and fortunate to do what I do every day. To be whatever success I've had, I feel blessed to do that, and I want to give back in every way I can. In business and in charitable things, I'm always trying to be helpful. Like, why does someone want to bring somebody else down? Let's try to build everybody up. Like, I'd be more excited to see one of my friends do something that's 99% less meaningful to me, but it would be really meaningful to them because I want them to do great. I want everyone around me to do great. I don't like watching Black hate on hate. It's like that Black judge that Meek had that hated on him and wanted to go extra hard on him. I think it's terrible. I think it's something I think it's culturally wrong. And I'll probably get killed for saying this because, you know, here, you know,
I'm glad you're saying it openly. If this is the conversations that are being had.
I have it all the time. With
I want to hear this.
Yeah. So I think it's wrong. I think, like, why do you not want to build everyone up around you? Why do you not want everyone around you to do great? The best way for everyone to do great is to push each other up. I'm always pushing everyone around me. It's why I spend, you know, a quarter of my days helping other people because I want them to do great.
Obviously, Michael Rubin, he was involved in some of the jokes that Meek Mill got. You know, Meek Mill went viral when an old video of him doing bunny hops after losing a bet to Michael Rubin resurfaced from years ago. You know, because it fit into the narrative of the jokes. And Michael Rubin felt some type of way. He's like, I don't like this. I don't like how in y'all community, it felt weird saying it. I don't like how in the Black community, you know what I mean, you guys hate on each other. You guys tear each other down. You know, Meek Mill's obviously not a gay man, but the fact that you guys are going to run with a narrative and just have these jokes, he felt some type of way about that. Now, when Michael Rubin first made the comments, I remember listening to the interview live. It did give me a feeling like, whoa, who's this guy to be speaking on what Black people do? Also, something that really, the first thing that popped in my head is like, that ain't just Black people. Like, I listen to a lot of different podcasts, I view a lot of different blogs, and I see white people hating on white people every day, and almost in a kind of a different way than how we do it in the Black community, like where it feels almost like high school jokes. It reminds me of like if somebody had a something funny happen in high school, you crack on them probably for like the next week, and then something else will happen, and then we start cracking on that person. You know what I mean? It's just how you got to get these jokes. You got to take your week of shame. You know what I mean? And that's really what Meek Mill caught. Whereas I see it in other communities, they just hate to hate. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that doesn't happen in the Black community as well, but I think when he was referring to the Meek Mill thing, that was more like jovial. That was more like jokes, and you see how Meek Mill handled it. You know what I mean? He just took it for like a week, pause, and moved on. You know what I mean? Went back to what he was doing. I don't think it really affected anything. I don't think it stopped his money at all. You know what I mean? I don't think it stopped anything that he's doing. If anything, it probably increased his engagement and social media and things of that nature. That's the funny thing about like hate is whether somebody has a negative comment about you, whether somebody has a positive comment about you, it all means the same to the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? You just up in Meek Mill's status and social status on whatever platform you guys are deciding to dislike him on. But back to the Michael Rubin comment, yeah, it was a little wild to say that. And Michael Rubin knew it. He says it in the comment. He's like, I'm going to get killed for this. You know what I mean? Because he felt, you know what I mean? He might have been talking out of turn. He might have been talking out of place and even really acts like turn to Charlemagne and Envy. Like, y'all let me know if I'm saying anything crazy. But he knew, you know, that eventually he probably was going to have to apologize. And he did. He came out with what some might call an apology. I'll read the quote here. He said, I got a call from one of the people I have the most respect for in the world. They told me while they appreciate my attention, it's not my place to speak on black culture. I get it and really appreciate the input. My intention was to say how important it is that we need to uplift each other, stop hate on each other, and push each other to win, and always root for each other's success. My bad, much love, and appreciate the feedback. Now, a few things I like there, like, he didn't necessarily apologize, which I don't even think he should have. I think we should be allowed to talk about other cultures, you know what I mean, without being like, oh, damn, I got to now issue some crazy apology. He didn't say sorry in that quote at all. He said my bad and, you know what I mean, said that it wasn't his intention and really reinstated what his intentions were with his comment. But I like that the fact that he didn't say sorry. I wouldn't call that an apology because he didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? He said what he sees. You know, he's around rich and famous black people and they probably express these views to him. You know what I mean? And if they don't, he sees it happening to them in real time. You know what I mean? He's getting phone calls like, yo, is Meek playing for the other team? He's like, no, what are you talking about? And you know what I mean? He says this in an interview, like one of his buddies like, I just seen it like 700 times on the internet. You know what I mean? And people are going to go off of that. And he really just wanted to point out like, hey, y'all breaking down another black man with these comments and things like that, as opposed to building each other up. So thank you, Michael Rubin, for making that comment initially. And then also knowing that you might have talked a little bit out of turn and being like, hey, I spoke to somebody that wasn't my intention. My bad. But let's get to the nitty gritty of it, because what he said was not false. There is this level of like hate within the black community that I think we got to outgrow. We got to get past this. You know what I mean? And it's not just in the hip hop industry. It's not just with famous people. You see it happening with, if you ever work in like an environment where you might be one of two black people, one of three black people, you know, I've heard stories of people saying like, rather than us coming together and you looking out for each other, you know, I got people trying to build me down, hating on me to the manager because, you know what I mean, I'm just the other black guy there, you know what I mean, or instead of having your back, you know what I mean, kind of like being embarrassed about you or being like upset about you. And that's a real thing that exists, you know what I mean? And I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where it exists, you know, because like Michael Rubin, I get more from building people up rather than taking them down, you know what I mean? But specifically in the Meek Mill's case, I think we got to like get that out of there, you know what I mean? Michael Rubin called it hate on hate. And I don't think it's black hate or hate, whatever that term means. I hope it doesn't catch on because it's wild. But whatever he meant by black hate on hate, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's really, we like to make jokes. We actually, as a community, get a lot of trauma out through comedy. And of course, you don't want to be on the receiving end of it. But also, it's not, people aren't showing up to Meek Mill's house, spray painting gay slurs on his house or, you know what I mean, doing anything wild to that extent. They're making comments on social media, on posts. And that's, you know, kind of what Black Twitter does. We get our jokes off. And it's up to Meek Mill to really decide if he's going to feed into it or not. You know what I mean? There were times when Meek Mill decided he's going to respond to it. And then I think there were times he realized, yo, this is pointless. I'm arguing into an echo chamber that's not echoing what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So no matter how much of what I say, I like girls, I do this, I get twat all the time, nobody gonna care about that, you know, because it's not as funny as the joke. You know what I mean? If the lie's more interesting than the truth, then ain't nobody sticking around to find out what the truth is. They gonna run with the lie. And Michael Rubin knows what's up, you know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily white people or Asian people or Hispanic people that are running to social media when something funny happens to a black celebrity or something sad happens to a black celebrity or something with the potential to joke on happens to black celebrities. It's our own people, and he sees it. I mean, I think he should be allowed to say that. I don't think there's anything wrong. If I see something in another culture that I notice, I'm going to speak on it too. And it might be talking out of turn, but at the end of the day, if you're right, you're right. You know what I mean? And the only people that really don't want to hear it are the people who are probably indulging in that level of hate themselves. So thank you, Michael Rubin, for, you know, bringing that up, pointing it out to the community, because it also started a conversation, and it really, I think it put a mirror to us. And sometimes it takes somebody that don't look like us. Sometimes it takes somebody that looks completely different to really point out, yo, this ain't the move. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe we need to reevaluate how we move things, or maybe instead of the next time there is an opportunity to there's an opportunity to break another black celebrity down. You know, maybe, all right, chill out. Maybe stop Like even in my own community, like my own group chat, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting older now, and like the jokes that used to pop off a couple years ago, the stuff we used to make fun of, don't hit the same no more. You know what I mean? It's and I'm realizing it's sometimes like it was funny to be a little mean when we were younger, especially when I was in high school, junior high school. That's what we do. We crack on each other. And as I'm getting older, I don't know, maybe I'm getting soft, y'all, but I don't really need to be mean to anybody. Like, I don't get off on somebody else feeling bad, you know what I mean? And I think there are some people who are dealing with their own traumas who do that. They need to make somebody else feel bad to make themselves feel better. And that's something that you gotta look in the mirror and work on yourself. But shout out to Michael Rubin. I don't think he said nothing out of turn. Of course, people are gonna use opportunity to be like, oh, this Jewish white man is judging us, but you know what I mean? There's a whole issue going on in Israel and Palestine he's not talking about. There's a whole issue going on in their own community that they're not speaking of. But I don't have an issue with it. If you see something, say something, you know what I mean? And he was in the right place. He didn't go to Z100. I sit with Elvis Duran to make that comment. He was with the Breakfast Club, you know what I mean? So it made sense. It was in context. So I got no beef with Michael Rubin's comment. And I'll be the first to admit that as a community, we definitely need to tighten up. Perfect Talk is what it do. It's your guy DJ Playboy holding it down for the Perfect Talk podcast, man. Thank you so much for checking out this short clip. If you like what you see, go check out the full episodes right there. Also hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, hop in the comments, baby.